Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. We are continuing in this session from the previous session. We are continuing to describe the Atmarama verse as explained by Lord Chaitanya to Srila Sanatana Goswami. This Atmarama verse says that all different varieties of Atmaramas, all different varieties of self-satisfied personalities, they, even though they are freed from material bondage, they engage in pure devotional service to Krishna because Krishna is full of transcendental qualities which are very, very attractive. Among the transcendentalists, there are three different categories of transcendentalists. According to the process of transcendental realization, they may accept. So this was mentioned in the previous session. Those who follow the Jnana Marga, the path of philosophical speculation, they are actually one category of transcendentalists who desire liberation by merging into the impersonal Brahman. Then the second category of transcendentalists are those who follow the path of mystic yoga, Ashtanga yoga, meditation, and they desire to realize the absolute truth as Paramatma, because they meditate on the form of the Lord, Paramatma in the heart. And the third category of transcendentalists are the devotees, or those who follow Bhakti Yoga, devotional service, and they directly engage in devotional service to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Bhagavan feature of the Absolute Truth. So now Lord Chaitanya is describing the first category of transcendentalists, those who wish to merge into the impersonal Brahman, are also divided into three further subcategories: those desiring to be liberated, those who are already liberated, and those who have realized Brahman. Now, Lord Chaitanya further says, there are many people within this material world who desire liberation, and for this purpose, they render devotional service to Krishna. Why is it that those who desire liberation render devotional service to Krishna? Because without a devotional service, one cannot get liberation ultimately. So in the Bhagavatam it is explained, those who want to be relieved from the clutches of the material energy, they give up worship of the various devatas, demigods. These demigods have fearful bodily features, ghora rupam. Such peaceful devotees who are not envious of the demigods worship the different forms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana. Again, it is said There may be some people who are attached to demigod worship, but if such people associate fortunately with the devotees of the Supreme Lord, then their dormant devotional service and appreciation of the Lord's qualities gradually awakens within their heart. In this way, they also engage in Krishna's devotional service and give up their desire for liberation and also give up the desire to merge into the existence of the impersonal Brahman. So, the association of devotees is a very, very powerful factor for people to understand the greatness of bhakti. Now, the association of devotees is particularly praised in many scriptures. One such scriptural quotation is cited by Lord Chaitanya. Thus, this scriptural quotation says, although there are many faults in this material world, there is one good opportunity. What is that? The association with devotees. Such association brings about great happiness. Due to this good quality, our strong desire to achieve liberation by merging into the Brahman effulgence has become weakened. What happens is somebody has got a desire to attain liberation by merging into the impersonal Brahman, but they associate with devotees and experience in devotional association a different quality of spiritual happiness due to devotional service. Then they give up this desire for liberation, because that happiness of devotional service is so much greater and so much satisfying and so much nicer that automatically they lose interest in liberation. Now, here is another example given by Lord Chaitanya. By associating with the great saint Narada, Shaunaka and other great sages gave up the desire for liberation and engaged in Krishna's devotional service. This Shaunaka Rishi was the leader of some great sages who assembled in a holy place called Naimisharanya in order to engage in 1,000-year sacrifice. Now, in the beginning, their aim was liberation. But after association with the great saint Narada, who was himself a great devotee, these Shaunakadi rishis, they gave up the desire for liberation and became engaged in Krishna's devotional service. Another instance is being mentioned by Lord Chaitanya here. Simply by meeting Krishna or receiving Krishna's special favor, one can give up the desire for liberation. How does that happen? Being attracted by the transcendental qualities of Krishna, one can engage in Krishna's service. Krishna's service should not be mistaken to be something like service rendered to another person in this material world. In material world, service means it is something not so very desirable, but is something which is unavoidable. Just like people render service to get some money, to get some material benefit, to get some favor, to learn something new. So many different reasons in this material world, people are engaged in service of another person. But serving Krishna is never to be mistaken like service rendered to another person in the material world. Krishna's service is something which is very, very pleasing to the heart. It is natural. It is due to the strong attraction by Krishna's transcendental qualities, which are innumerable, and therefore Krishna is able to attract different categories of persons who may have attraction for different transcendental qualities of Krishna. Now here is an instance of somebody who happened to visit Dwaraka Dham, where Krishna was ruling as the king of Dwaraka, Dwarakadhisha. So this personality is describing his experience. In this Dwaraka Dham, I am being attracted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, who is personified spiritual bliss. See, Krishna is no ordinary person. Krishna is the Supreme Lord who is full of transcendental bliss, spiritual bliss, Anandamaya. The Vedanta Sutra says, Anandamayo Abhyasat. Krishna is full of Ananda. And simply by seeing Krishna, one can feel that great happiness which is characteristic of Krishna's personality. Simply by seeing him. It's so pleasing to the senses, to the mind, to the heart. Seeing Krishna. Then this personality who is feeling great happiness by simply seeing Krishna in Dwaraka Dham, he began to think, I have wasted so much time trying to become self-realized through impersonal cultivation. Before one comes to know what is the real nature of Krishna's personality, one may be engaged in Brahman realization, impersonal Brahman realization. But that is so tedious. In the 12th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains, Klesho adhikataras tesham avyakta sakta chetasam. Avyakta is impersonal feature of the absolute truth, the impersonal Brahman. And those who are not having knowledge of Krishna, they engage in such meditation or worship or cultivation of knowledge of impersonal Brahman. And that is very, very tedious. Klesha adhikataraha tesham. It is very, very tedious. It's filled with so many difficulties. So therefore, this personality in Dwarka Dham, after just seeing Krishna's beautiful, pleasing form, transcendental form, became so much filled with happiness that thought, why was I wasting time trying to become self-realized through impersonal Brahman method? So like this, different varieties of personalities, even though they may be engaged in self-realization through other methods than bhakti, they somehow or the other, by contact with a pure devotee, by contacting Krishna, by associating with devotees, by mercy of Krishna, so many different ways, they become attracted to Krishna and they naturally engage in Krishna's service to reach the perfection of devotion. So I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.